I just bought this 1973 Trans Am that hasn't been on the road in over 40 years. Let's see what it takes to drive it 1,000 miles back to my house.
All right, here it is, the original 455 4-speed, original to the car. It was already running when we got it. The previous owner did the tune-up stuff on it, so that made our lives a little easier. But before we hit the road, we did have to install a back glass. It wasn't in the car, and probably hasn't been in the car for like 30 to 40 years. So the great thing about that was it had a lot of critters living inside of it, and let me tell you, it did not smell good in this car for the duration of the trip.
All right, guys, we're just outside of Chicago. We've driven the car just about 50 miles. Everything's going great so far. There is a little bit of an oil leak. So we stopped when I just picked up the car, just bought it. We didn't have a lot of time to cover the car and everything. We're in the garage, so we just decided to stop out of town, check to make sure it all is going good and everything. So
this was our first stop right outside of the city. Didn't actually get much of a chance to look over the car very much before I drove away with it. The seller was kind of like in a rush, and so we just kind of took it and went. Also, why I didn't get any footage from the beginning to really go over the car. So we'll talk about the car later at the end of the video, all that good stuff. But here we're just giving it a once over, making sure the valve covers are tight, all that good stuff. And up to now, the car was running good, but that changes quickly.
all right, made about 100 miles outside of Chicago, and lost our brakes. RPM gauge isn't working. It's not a big deal. Pulled off. We're going to go into parts store, kind of see what's what, and go from there. All right, update on the car. We made it about 100 miles out of Chicago, and we unfortunately broke down. Got kind of lucky though. We broke down in Pontiac, Illinois. We were just driving along the freeway, about 60 miles an hour, 65. I noticed the oil pressure fluctuate a little bit, so I decided to just slow down and get off the next exit, and the brake light came on, and I was like, all right, let's just go to advance. We'll check out the car. We knew the rear wheel cylinder was kind of leaking a little bit, so we expected that. But my main concern was the oil pressure fluctuation. So we stopped the car, pulled in advance, popped the hood, and when we popped the hood, I mean, it was just oil slung all over the underneath of the car, the hoses and everything. So unfortunately, the crankshaft seal just is gone. So I'll show you all that stuff. We're kind of, I won't say in the middle of nowhere, but kind of sparse out here. Luckily, the lady here, we were able to track down a timing cover set that has that seal in it. It's 40 minutes away. Obviously, we're not making it there, but she has. We paid her son, or I'm going to pay her son $100 to drive down there and get the part and bring it back to us. And we're going to go ahead and take it apart while they're on the way down there. So it's 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, and we're going to go ahead and start taking the car apart right now. So I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. You see behind the harmonic balancer, it's pretty wet. And all the coolant hoses there coming off the water pump are wet as well with all that oil. So we're gonna go ahead and start tearing it apart while our parts courier goes and gets the new one. Hopefully have it apart by the time they get here. See underneath the car, a good amount of oil for it not running, sitting there. Well, underneath of the car is covered in oil, so.
Let me see if I can span it with this one top. I'm gonna fuck them up. So I got my belts and the oil. And most spin it to the top.
All right, so still waiting on the part, but we got the front end of the car taken apart, got the fan out, the pulleys, and the balancer is off. It's starting to rain out here a little bit, but hopefully it holds off. See underneath here, give you guys a good look. It has been leaking for quite a while, so we're gonna get that cleaned up, get the old seal out, and hopefully get it back together shortly. All right, yeah, next morning, got the car running. We found this gas station, Wally's. I guess it's like a knockoff Buc-ee's out here in Illinois. So we stopped. I had to adjust the carburetor a little bit on the car, And yeah, I got 12 hours ahead of us. We're gonna go ahead and get back on the road.
I thought this was interesting. It was like a great value Buc-ee's. I don't know. I guess it's a Midwest thing. They're trying to compete with Buc-ee's, but it's just not on the same level. I mean, it's alright though.
Not rubber anymore. You know what I mean? It was solid. It wasn't.
All right, after we left that great value Buc-ee's, I decided we're gonna, stop every hour, check the oil, make sure the car's just not absolutely falling apart on us. And at this point, we knew we had some type of issue. It was using like a quart and a half of oil an hour. We were oil limited, not fuel limited, so that's what we were chasing the entire time.
All right, we've stopped again just outside of Springfield. Car's been running good, except the oil consumption is really bad. We go through about 2 quarts every hour and a half. Found out the valve cover is leaking from back here. We did tighten that bolt when we got the car. It's been leaking from the back of the engine. So we took the valve cover off. And
all right, so here we are, just outside of Springfield with some Napa Auto Parts in some random town, and I think we're in Missouri. You can see there my dad's talking to one of the locals. This car is just getting a ton of attention. Anytime we stopped anywhere, everyone's like stopping, talking to us about it. I guess you just don't really see these things that often, and obviously in this condition, it raises a few eyebrows. So we're here trying to chase this oil consumption issue. Not really having any luck. We kind of replaced the valve cover. That did fix the leak, but we were still burning a crazy amount of oil, basically like 2 quarts an hour. And it got to the point where we just, stopping every hour, putting oil in it. Eventually, the car did start missing, and quite obviously, we were just fouling spark plugs. So we stopped, had to pull out all the plugs, and this is what they look like. Yeah, 5 out of the 8 look like that. So it's pretty bad.
all right, I wanted to go ahead and wrap up the trip here. Obviously, we did make it back in one piece. The car made it back in one piece. It's still running, still driving, all that good stuff. The trip, honestly, overall was pretty uneventful. Minus us just burning a ton of oil, trying to chase that. We didn't know if it was a leak the entire time or if it was burning it. Turns out the car's just burning oil. I'm 99% sure it's the valve seals. It could also be a combination of the rings and stuff being old. Not that big of a deal. I plan on doing a full restoration on this car and pulling the engine anyways. So I am going to try to change the valve seals in the meantime, just so I can kind of drive it around. So waiting on getting the body work and stuff done. That's the first place to start. But yeah, so I didn't get a lot of footage in the beginning. So I did at least want to talk about the car a little bit, what it is and what my plans are for it. So this is a 1973 Trans Am, 455 4-speed, numbers matching engine, numbers matching transmission. No, I'm not going to LS swap it or anything like that. The car's originally Brewster green. So this is like one of 46 rumored 4-speed green Trans Ams. So it is pretty rare. I want to just do a full restoration, go back to original on it. I have, that's like my track car, my fun car, the ZL11LE. I'm going to start making more content on that too. So that's the plans with the car. Overall, yeah, it looks pretty rough right now. I already stripped the interior out of it because it just stunk so bad. So I pulled the carpet out and everything like that. And it was just really, really disgusting. And also, I knew there was already Bondo on the car and everything. I knew it was going to need door skins and quarters. So this is like the Bondo bird. It was pretty amazing that they were able to sculpt this like this. I mean, I pulled off like a lot of Bondo off this car. So it's the first place we're going to start. Saddle interior car. Like I said, I pretty much stripped everything. There's not a lot of rust on the car, but I mean, it's a good starter. It's a good solid body. A lot of surface rust, but no rot or anything like that. So that's the plans for this. I really would have liked to got more footage on the trip, especially at the beginning. It just wasn't really possible with the way everything was going. So it didn't really turn out the way I wanted it to. But overall, yeah, we got the car back. And if you guys want to see more content on me rebuilding it, let me know.